Genesis chapter 38. And it came to pass at that time that Judah went down from his brethren and turned into a curtain. Adullamite, whose name was Hira, and Judah saw there a daughter of a certain Canaanite, whose name was Shuha. And he took her and went into her. And she conceived and bore a son, and he called his name And she conceived again and bore a son, and she called his name Onan. And she yet again conceived, and bore a son, and called his name Shelah. And he was at Shezib when she bore him. And Judah took us wife for his firstborn, whose name was Tamar. And Judah's firstborn, was wicked in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord slew him. And Judah said to Onan, go into your brother's wife and marry her, and raise up seed to your brother. And Onan knew that the seed should not be his. And it came to pass when he went into his brother's wife, that he spilled it on the ground, lest that he should give seed to his brother. And the thing which he did displease the Lord, wherefore he slew him also. Then said Judah to Tamar his daughter-in-law, remain a widow at your father's house till Shelah my son be grown. For he said, lest perhaps he die also as his brethren did. And Tamar went and dwelt in her father's house. And in process of time the daughter of Shula, Judah's wife, died, and was comforted, and went up to the sheep shearers to Timnath, he and his friend Hira and Adullamite. And it was told Tamar, saying, behold, your father-in-law goes up to Timnath to shear his sheep. And she put her widow's garments off from her, and covered her with a veil, and wrapped herself, and sat in an open place which is by the way to Timnath. For she saw that Shelah was grown, and she was not given to him as a wife. Then Judah saw her. He taught her to be a harlot, because he had covered her face. And he turned to her by the way and said, go to, I pray you, let me come into you. For he knew not that she was his daughter-in-law. And she said, what will you give me that you may come into me? And he said, I will send you a kid from the flock. And she said, will you give me a pledge till you send it? And he said, what pledge shall I give you? And she said, your signet, and your bracelets, and your staff that is in your hand. And he gave it her, and came into her, and she conceived by him. And she arose and went away, and laid by her veil from her, put on the garments of her widowhood. And Judah sent the kid by the hand of his friend Adullamite to receive his pledge from the woman's hand, but he found her not. Then he asked the men of that place, saying, where is the harlot that was openly by the wayside? And they said, there is no harlot in this place. And returned to Judah and said, I cannot find her. And also the men of the place said that there was no harlot in this place. And Judah said, let her take it to her, lest we be shamed. Behold, I sent this kid, and you have not found her. And it came to pass about 3 months after, that it was told to Judah, saying, Tamar, your daughter-in-law, has played the harlot, and also, behold, she is with child by whoredom. And Judah said, bring her forth, and let her be burned. When she was brought forth, she sent to her father-in-law, saying, by the man whose these are, am I with child? And she said, discern, I pray you, whose are these, the signet and the bracelets and staff? And Judah acknowledged them and said, she has been more righteous than I, because that I gave her not to Shelah my son, and he knew her again no more. And it came to pass in the time of their travail, that behold, twins were in her womb. And it came to pass, when she travailed, and the one put out his hand, and the midwife took and bound upon his hand a scarlet thread, saying, this came out first. And it came to pass, as he drew back his hand, that behold, his brother came out. And she said, how have you broken forth? This breach be upon you. Therefore his name was called Phares. And afterward came out his brother, that the scarlet thread upon his hand, and his name was called Zara. What are these people like?